What is the outrage? Why is there so much outrage with Nick fucking with Ye? Because I mean, I know the association is crazy, but the association with a let's say a celebrity, you know, the association with celebrities versus, you know what I'm saying, fucking with Jeffrey Epstein and then Ye fucking with Nick. I mean, why is there so much outrage with Kanye doing this shit? You know what I'm saying?
Well, because Ye is arguably still probably, what would you say, the most popular musician alive right now?
Well, he's up there.
If
I'd
not,
say
he's
Drake,
up there, right?
Drake's a lot bigger, maybe Taylor
insanely-
Swift, but his music is not really like what it once was
Sure,
for
that's
people.
true, that's true.
But in terms of
In terms of
celebrity,
name, celebrity status,
he's one
fashion,
of the biggest,
yeah, for sure.
especially in hip hop. Yeah,
One of
he's
the
top
most
five,
influential people
Yeah.
in pop culture of the past 15, 20 years.
for sure.
So when this guy who has a platform and is talking to, you know, people of all ages and is starting to connect to somebody that's like arguably like a white nationalist, I can understand the concern, right?
But if I was to run for president, and then I was like, you know what, well, let me hire Destiny, because Destiny, if I go up to debate and I go for these interviews, there's no fucking way you can belittle me, because I have Destiny right behind me that can intervene and you know, change the course of this fucking interview. So I feel like
is
that's
Nick
the-
Fuentes just the right wing Destiny?
Jesus, that's nice. Now.
That's how he's being characterized.
It's
here.
important that it's not
I
just
mean,
about
is he?
It's not just about debate skills, though. It's about the values of like what you stand for, right? So if you've got a guy like Fuentes who is like anti fucking interracial marriage, who is like pro like white majorities in the United States in terms of like composition, wants to see less immigration from brown people, wants to return us to some like, I think he says what, like Catholic, is it Catholic theocracy or whatever in the United
because
States?
that's what he says ultimately is he doesn't claim he's a white nationalist. He says he's a Catholic nationalist.
Yeah, sure. But with a heavy focus on race, right? A lot of Jewish question stuff that comes up, a lot of race realism and IQ baked into your skin color that comes up. Like these are all kind of like underlying beliefs that are part of his community and part of his system.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially, and that was my whole thoughts on it. That it's like thinly veiled white supremacy, and but he's so good at debating and just thwarting those points when they come up. Like he'll say, "I'm not against interracial marriage or mingling. I'm just against it for myself."
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, "I'm actually part Mexican and part all these different things." So
But what was your opinion of the debate, quote unquote, that occurred on this channel with Nick, where we appeared powerless to really like corner him on him being a racist at all? Like what did you think when you watched that? And what are the main things that we could have said that would have made that better?
I think there were.
No, I was asking Destiny.
Oh,
but
okay,
feel free to weigh in.
Okay, but
as well, yeah.
the glasses get me every time.
Sorry.
Oh, fuck. I thought you were talking to him. I heard your question. What were some of the things you could have done well? I think I actually watched this full interview on stream.
Yeah, I did not watch that. So I actually, even though I said in the thing that I was going to watch it.
Yeah, I've consumed so much crazy content over the past month. I don't even know if I remember I don't remember the particular talking points. If I had to guess, it's like usually the issues are going to come down where, so if you call him a white supremacist, that's not going to work because he's going to say, I don't believe that white people are superior. I believe that all people are different.
Right.
That'll be like one thing. Typically, you get lost in the weeds because a lot of people don't spend a lot of time arguing against people that have those types of beliefs, so they don't even know what to say.
And this is all he argues about for the most part.
Exactly,
so he's
yeah.
so ready for it.
Exactly, yeah. It's like if you can be pretty confident about your view of the planet, but if you're arguing against the world's smartest flat earther, you're going to lose that debate. I would lose that debate 10 out of 10 times. You know?
Right.
So yeah, it's usually like his normal talking points are really hard to argue against if you're not really well versed in those arguments related to like race realism and stuff. And then a lot of his other talking points are becoming more popular because there's like this anti-establishment trend, and he's very big on questioning the elites and talking about how the institutions have failed you, and there needs to be like an alternative option to that. So yeah.
no, and that's a perfect segue to a question I had for you. When did we experience this major shift with conspiracy theories being a left-wing phenomenon for, the past however many decades, going back to now? It's like this neoconservative right-wing ideology fueled by distrust of the powers that be. Like, when did that fucking paradigm shift occur?
I think Trump pushed a lot of this. There's this underlying sentiment of anti-establishmentarianism or I think that's a
Disestablishmentarianism.
That's or you're like opposed to establishments, right? You saw it in like this crowd that had a lot of energy for Bernie Sanders, and you saw this crowd that had a lot of energy for Donald Trump. And I think that when you position yourself as this populist, fascist really figure who's like, the government is evil, the institutions are evil, the corporations are evil, everybody's evil, but I'm going to be your savior, right? Through me, all things are possible. I'm going to lead you into the light. When you have that sort of mentality, then it becomes very easy to very quickly say like, vaccines are dangerous, the voting is rigged, BLM is all lies, like abortion is evil. Like you'll go down whatever road kind of like everybody wants to, and there's not going to be much trust for like fact checkers or anything like that in that area, I think.
And then obviously QAnon perpetuates the narrative, and at a certain point, it becomes like this anti-quote-unquote Zionist rhetoric. But when people say Zionist, what are they really saying?
That's a tricky one. The best faith interpretation of anti-Zionist means you're in opposition to somebody that's in favor of like the state of Israel, at least as it currently exists.
Right.
But some people will argue that people will be anti-Zionist, but that's a guise for their anti-Semitism.
And there's a thin line between
conflict.
that, right?
I mean, I think you can be solidly anti-Zionist without being anti-Semitic, but it's very, 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 very hard to find it's hard to find out what, yeah. There's like the joke that I make is like if you want to argue with the libertarian and they feel strong about libertarianism and they have like the age of consent memorized for every single fucking state, it's hard to like why are we talking about this right now, right? You kind of wonder like what's going on. So when somebody's like very ultra critical of like Israel in like a million different ways and Jewish support in the United States, like okay, you could, but like sometimes the focus gets weird. It's hard to figure out what people really think sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, talking about all this, I'm just you guys being white. Do you guys really think that white people are the superior race?
No. Obviously. No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
I hate to ruin your act there, but
I just want to really know. I mean,
I said no and he said yes at the same time.
So, okay, we going to get on him because he said no. You said yes. Why are white people the superior race?
No, I was just kidding.
So you guys don't think the white people are the superior race?
No, and really, like and that's part of why Nick's whole little routine works is because he'll say like Asian people test better for this and that, and so
Black people are better at music.
Yeah.
White people are better at creating architecture, whatever. Yeah.
Right. Like, but how do you feel when you see him doing that little number?
The problem is that it's like different people and groups of people seem to do different things for different reasons. It's just really hard to find out like why. And like I can understand if you show somebody enough of a pattern, like it seems like okay, well maybe black people do this particular thing because all across the United States these trends pop up, or maybe Jewish people are gifted the Ashkenazi or whatever Jews are gifted towards a certain way because they do this. But it's so hard to separate out like the culture from the people and to figure out why people do the things they do. The example that I always give actually for this is something it's just interesting to look at is like when it comes to music, it seems like boys play in rock bands and that's it. Like girls don't play guitars and drums generally, right?
Very rarely. Yeah.
Very, 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 very rare, right?
Except for the riot girl movement of the early 90s.
That's exactly what I thought of too.
There's like when you look
lunatics.
at and you might be able to even think of like some biological reasons why when you look at a guy play guitar, like maybe the level of coordination is like that athleticism or whatever, that finger dexterity, like women just can't do that. And I guess it kind of makes sense from a biological, okay. And you can justify that. You can build that all out and it makes sense. Okay, there's real biological differences between like men and women here. But if you step away from like the rock world and you go into the classical world, you'll see women playing like violin concertos and piano. You're like, holy fucking shit. If you can play piano or violin or viola or cello or whatever this well, you could definitely play guitar. So that's like a difference that is stark, right? There's like 0.1% of all rock guitar players are women, and that's driven entirely by culture. And I think if you see things like that, you can kind of look at like, well, what is the state of like black people in the U.S. versus like certain types of Asian people versus certain Hispanic, certain white people. It's tempting to say like, it's all because of race. Look at the race. But like, damn, our culture and the environments we're born in can drive a fuck ton of behavior. And it can drive huge differences in behavior as well.
Because that's one of the things Nick says.
It's an amazing point.
But Nick says, Destiny agrees with me. He just disagrees about why, in the sense of like IQ differences between races or in terms of performance or whatever. Like
that's because liberals fuck themselves, mainly progressives, because they'll get into this world where they don't want to agree with any fact ever. They'll say something like, "Why are black people in prison so often more than white people?" The real answer is because they commit a lot more crime. And there are other answers around their edges, but the crime answer is the real one. But a lot of progressives are like, "No, it's all racism from the cops." all of it is racism. There's no reason why they probably all commit crimes the same way, but it's just because cops are in the neighborhoods. It's just because cops are being racist and judges are racist. It's like, that's bullshit. If you won't even acknowledge that the problem is there,
Right.
then it's like, then you're, yeah, of course you're going to look
Well,
crazy
whether or
then.
not that's true, all those external things are true or not, that is like the base.
Yeah, that's
reason.
the base. That's the base thing. But when you refuse to engage with that, you're going to look insane, and then people are going to look at Nick like, oh, well, at least he acknowledges the problem, and then yeah.
Yo, we just hit 400,000 subscribers right here on the Clips channel. So if you want to help us out, click subscribe, get us to 500K. Yeah.